I would like to begin this review by giving a quick shout out to Dobby the Bunny, because I promised I would. Look at him. He is cute. We love Dobby. The barber clearly missed a spot. I've contracted COVID, so if it looks or sounds like I'm a zombie who should be in bed, shut up, leave me alone. The Faceless Ones is a 6-part story from 1967, the heyday of missing Doctor Who episodes. This time, episodes 1 and 4 remain intact, with the rest being lost. Thankfully, we have a modern animated remake to enjoy. This 2020 release offers us numerous special features, as well as several comprehensive ways of viewing the experience. Disc 1's got the nifty 6-part black and white animation, and a cool additional option of inserting the surviving episodes 1 and 4 in, so you can watch it that way, which I think is pretty cool for purists or for second-time viewings, which I know when I eventually get around to revisiting this one, that's what I'll do, because I went with Disc 2's all 6 episodes, full screen, full colour animation. Say what you will, but I prefer a more modern approach for my first time viewing, although there's no option to watch the surviving episodes on Disc 2, which is a bit annoying, but commonplace with these modern remake DVDs. Disc 3 is a bunch of bonus features and a basic Telesnap remake. Nothing compared to the work done by the old Loose Cannon Productions team, it's just there. It's there for those who want it, but I prefer to see a more complete picture, especially because the audio quality on the Telesnap is terrible. It's like they just didn't use the touched up, better audio of the animation. Speaking of awful, let's get this over with. The animation quality isn't great. I've become a little more lenient towards the official BBC animated reconstructions as of late, but after coming directly from the Macroterra perfect animation, like, this just reminds me of all the things I don't like about it. I'll skip the rant, because odds are if you're watching this, if you're watching me specifically talk about animated reconstructions, you've probably heard it all before. Right, full disclosure. At the time I sat down to watch the Faceless Ones and write up the script for this video, I had just started a additional full-time job, so I was working 50 hours a week, and I just finished 9 days in a row, and it was about to go into 13 days in a row, so I was crazy tired. Of course, you know, then I got COVID, so I've got all the time in the world to sit in bed and cough my lungs out. All this to say, I'm really sorry to any die-hard Faceless One fans, but when it came time for me to sit down and watch it, I was so tired and so easily distracted. I watched it all in one sitting, rewinding certain sections if I tuned out and missed something, but I can't deny that I was on my phone most of the time, catching up on meaningless phone stuff. It's not entirely the episode's fault, but admittedly it did feel like this was another perfect example of a story that had been perfectly suited for a 4-episode structure and then stretched out to that 6-episode runtime. It's a slow burn is what it is. Not a bad one, it's just, you know, not your full throttle, no time wasted affair. The plot is basically Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I've never seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but I'm pretty sure the title says it all. The Doctor, Ben, Polly and Jamie arrive in a bit of a pickle when the TARDIS decides to materialise itself smack bang in the middle of an airport runway right as the plane's coming in. So they're already starting out on the back foot where they got to contend with, you know, planes landing and also airport security chasing after them. From there, it's pretty much straight to formula. Here's a mystery, but rather than solving it, let's just show the audience the answer and spend the remainder of the runtime waiting for the characters to catch up and figure out what we already know. A lot of the time you can easily see where things are going, but there's still the odd bit of goofy sci-fi goodness thrown in there for good measure to keep things from getting too stale. The Faceless Ones themselves, though, leave much to be desired. They're hardly the focus of the story, and are rarely seen in their true form, which I think is a shame, because I swear I'd heard so much about how their original design was either super dumb and just not worth seeing, or really genuinely unsettling, depending on who you asked, and that they were changed for the animated remake. But they seem to have just gone from a dish scrub scourer to a lizard man thing. Big lizard. Doesn't quite have the same ring to big crab. I wasn't too bothered. But what does confuse me is this DVD cover. I mean, you take the spooky font and combine that with this ominous backdrop of what appears to be Polly's face literally melting off her skull. Like, that's some dark, creepy imagery right there, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew Bowman, I swear this doesn't even appear in the animation at all. Maybe it was, and I was just distracted by Pokemon Go at the time, but when the story came to an end, I was like, wait, what about the creepy DVD cover? Alright, I'm incredibly tired and pressed for time, so I'm just gonna quick fire through the last of my notes, okay? The animation does actually have one advantage over the original, and that's in regards to the temporary paralysis device. In the live action episodes, the actors, they're not exactly still, wobbling around a bit, but with the animation, they're stiff as a rock, so it just adds to that intended effect. Oh yes, this does lead to a stupid moment where a bad guy has the Doctor, Jamie, and Samantha unconscious right where he wants them and wants to kill them. So what does he do? He sets up this little device a few meters away that produces a laser that slowly creeps towards our heroes and then leaves the room. What does he think he is? Some kind of inept James Bond villain? Obviously, they wake up, still partially paralyzed, but they still manage to use Samantha's compact mirror to reflect the laser right back at the machine, destroying it. And then they get up and leave. What a stupid, pointless scene. Oh yeah, I should probably talk about Samantha. So, early on in episode 2 or something, this new side character gets introduced and then sits down next to Jamie. And it took me a while to realise, but I'm like, oh, this character isn't going anywhere and is getting a lot of lines and is now inexplicably attached to one of the main characters. Oh, she must be getting set up to be one of the new companions. Oh no, she's so annoying. The voice, the attitude, the phony accent, she just gave me a really bad first impression, and I was terrified that this was Victoria and that I was going to have to put up with this for another 2 seasons. I'm really sorry if that sounds mean, but thankfully that wasn't the case. This, obviously, is Samantha. So she was originally written to be a new TARDIS companion, but the actress actually turned down the offer to become a series regular. Okay, so why not just change the casting, or better yet, update the script? Look, why? Were they casting actors before they had plans finalised? I mean, this just seems so weird. I don't know. In the end, she wasn't terrible, but I'm glad she didn't stick around. Truly the companion that never was. Although I do appreciate the attempt at introducing a new companion naturally throughout the story before inviting them on board the TARDIS, rather than the Dodo Chaplet method of just this random person running into the TARDIS and then, here you are, here's your new companion. You're welcome.
Also, yes, I'm fully aware that Pauline Collins, who played Samantha in the Faceless ones, returned to Doctor Who in the modern Series 2 episode Tooth and Claw to play Queen Victoria. I just forgot to mention it because my brain is scrambled tofu.
I'm getting sidetracked again. I think my favourite part of the Faceless ones has to be the Doctor's more commonly recognised trait of mercy and diplomacy, choosing to help the aliens in the end come to some kind of peaceful resolution rather than, genocide. The other words. I'm really liking this second Doctor so far. I can see why Patrick Troughton's a lot of people's favourites. And finally, the ending. Ben and Polly figure out that this whole time the TARDIS had actually brought them back to London, a different part of London, but on the same day that they left London in the events of the War Machines back with the first Doctor. Call that a coincidence and a half. This leads to the first truly sensible companion farewell. I don't know, I feel like a companion leaving should be bittersweet, but also fitting. A lot of First Doctor companions' departures were sudden, random, or in Stephen's case, both. But here, there's no resentment, no tears, just a genuine, heartfelt goodbye. Ben and Polly were great. Polly's intelligence and bravery, Ben's confidence and protective attitude. Back when they were introduced, I said I was worried that they were going to do the boring will they, won't they relationship angle, but thankfully they never did. From what I recall canonically, they went on to live their successful lives respectively and then got together much later in life, eventually getting married and, kind of had themselves a little happy ending. I like that. I will miss them. Heck, when all was said and done, even Samantha's little goodbye to Jamie was sad. This leaves the Doctor and Jamie in a new conundrum. While they've been busy saving the day, someone's only gone and pinched the ruddy TARDIS. And with only one episode left to go in this season, I have a pretty good idea of who it was. Hello and thank you for watching. I have no idea how I managed to get this done, but with working 50 hours a week and getting COVID and all that jazz, I think it might be time for a break. But not before we wrap up Season 4 with the fan favourite, iconic Evil of the Daleks. Tune in next time, and hopefully you'll see me then.